ask is that you raise your hand and wait to be called upon. And once we get underway, any questions for Coach Brennan? We'll start with Justin.
So what do you think led to this loss today?
I think there was lots of things in here. I think you coming in here, we knew that the turnover thing was going to be a big deal, and that was something that we didn't handle great. I think at the end of the first half, we overthrow Kean on that one play. But I think maybe in terms of where we were in the field position, I think maybe there wasn't enough verticality for that route, for the outside route, and we took a lot of collision on it. So kind of had two people in too tight a proximity, and then put that ball up there. I think so. The turnover thing was a big deal, and especially coming out of halftime to go back-to-back possessions with turnovers. And then, I think there were spurts where we played good football, but just not enough. And you're not going to come in here and beat a team like that when you don't play clean and you don't protect the football.
Jason?
When you look at these turnovers, it was last week and this week, is there a common theme? How do you kind of get Noah back on track, you think?
Yeah, I think I think the one turnover, there were four very different turnovers, right? One is a tip pick, one is a fumble, one is we run a corner route down there with an outside release vertical, and it's in the same space, and so it's like 3-by-1 formation. So I think they're all different. What the other one was a pressure where it was a sack fumble. So they're not. I think they're all different. I think that's something that I have to look at as the head coach in terms of the situation, what we're calling, where we are with our sequence of that kind of thing. We coming out of halftime, the play we called, we got a boundary screen, which is normally a really safe throw. They run corner chop into it. It's a tip. Guy makes a hell of a play. With a look like that, that's one of those situations where we probably would hope he'd dirt the ball, to the screen player. But he's normally so crafty with his arm angle that he's able to get the ball around people, and so. But again, I think there's a lot that goes into those. They're different.
And then losing Manu that early in the game, how did that impact everything?
Well, I think that's impactful because I think Jacob Manu is one of the absolute leaders of this football team. He's an emotional leader. He's also an excellent football player, and so I think that was impactful.
So with Gunner out and Manu, those are the two helmet guys with the communication to coaches. What do you do after that? Who's the guy?
So we ended up changing that down to I think Trey. So that was different, But we're signaling all that stuff in. So that's been our form of communication. If anything, it's just to talk to that player. And Jacob, he's just such a good quarterback at the front.
And I know, obviously, you don't want to talk about injuries, but how much do you think that played a factor in today?
I think injuries are making things a little bit tough on us right now.
It seemed to be a little more obvious today, but Noah sometimes has a tendency to run back pretty far in his dropbacks. Is that by design? Is it the pressure from opposing teams? What do you kind of attribute that
I think it's a combination of both those things. It's also one of the things that makes him really effective, right? It's his escapability and his ability to throw on the run, like you saw multiple times today where he was able to escape and still deliver the ball accurately downfield. So it's most of the time it's pressure related, or it's how do I get this ball off related. I know Noah Fafita, no one cares more about this team than Noah Fafita. And we absolutely love him, and we're going to coach the hell out of him, and we're going to help him get back to what we know he can do and know he's capable of.
Justin?
What do you think is leading to the offense stalling after the first drive in games?
That's a good question. I think, was our second drive the fourth and short? Was that drive?
No, maybe third.
Yeah.
I think Fafita's pick was
Yeah,
the first.
I think the harder part is that when we're getting either to that fringe or that high red, like we have not effectively kind of kicked the door down there. You know what I mean? That's where we've tended to stall out. And, because Tyler Loop has been so effective, lots of times we've opted to swing in field goals from there. But we all know that you're not going to win in this league kicking field goals. And we have to find a way to put ourselves in the best position to get first downs there and score touchdowns.
And what was the message to the team afterwards?
The message of the team is that we're halfway through the football season, and we have a ton of football left to play. And we can, we have a choice to make, right, to me, right? We have so much football left to play. Like, I always, my dad's not around anymore, but one of his old things was like nothing in the world is less important than the score at halftime. Well, we're at halftime of the football season. And so what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with these next 6 opportunities? And that's what our team needs to make a strong, firm choice of which direction we're going to move.
Any more questions?
Yeah. So I mean, there were high expectations for this year's team. Obviously, 2 straight losses, some that you guys don't want to see. How do you guys get things back on track?
This team has a lot of heart. There's a lot of great young people and really, really good players on this team, and we have to regroup. And I think that's one of those things that gets hard is when you go through a couple losses like that are both hard ones. The challenge is to stay together, and the challenge is to not let the outside forces of the world pull us apart. And I think one of the things that is really powerful about these young men is that they are a true brotherhood, and I'm excited to see how we come to work.
Last question to Jason.
Do you feel at times the offense is trying to force things, like because it's not going well at times, that maybe instead of taking the easy play, going for the more difficult one?
I don't feel that way. I think, what were we today? I felt like we were really less effective kind of when like I talked about, that high red area, that 25, maybe it's a 20 to the 30, some work in there. And I think, Noah was doing a great job progressing early on in the game. And he started to get heated up a little bit more, and I think, that part of it is something that we as coaches have to take off him. We have to protect him from those moments, whether that's heavy protection or being able to rely on the run game. At the same time, BYU's defense is pretty stingy, and their front is really, really good. And so that run game, where in the first half that was 4 or 6 yards a pop, right, that thing got bottled up a little bit, and that was looking a little bit more like 2. And so now we're sitting there, it's 2nd and 8, and we have to make bigger decisions about kind of how we're going to try to get into 3rd and manageable.
All right, that's our time.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Brent.